And we're off. Welcome one, welcome all to... Actually, you give the intro, Spartan. You organized it. You should be able to get the intro.
All right.
What are we doing here?
All right. So we got Vamos as the blue player over in the west as Norse. I've never seen him play Norse, but he's improved a lot. He's come a long way since when I first played with Vamos a couple years ago. And over his opponent in the red is my clanmate is HadesxElite as the Babylonians. Um, I just want to also note in Sparta, these two players are actually ranked right beside each other. You got Vamos, that's ranked 10th in Sparta. Hades is ranked 11th.
And you
And
have me
something
ranked
also,
120.
yeah, and something interesting to note as well is Vamos has out of 169 total players in Sparta 1 vs 1 on the roster. Vamos is actually he has the second most wins behind Poseidon. He has 52, and I
Wow.
think Poseidon has 100 and some wins. But yeah, Vamos has the second most wins out of 169 players in Sparta. So he's very active. But we'll see how this plays out.
And we'll be seeing Poseidon later today because we got quite a gambit of games.
Yes,
A grommet
we
of
do.
games, I guess, that are going to be played. 3 best of 5 series, one at 10, which is right now, one at 1 p.m., and one at 3.
Yes, correct.
So it's going to be quite a fun day. And I guess maybe, Spartan, the reason why we can talk so calmly in the beginning of this game, maybe you can give it a little bit of an intro, because this will be the first video that'll go on this SpartanxElite channel that will be post-patch. So maybe give a reason why we're able to just chat like this a little bit more casually in the beginning of the game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Now the meta, if you will, has completely changed. Before, we always had there was kind of like a standard 4-4-4 build. The meta was you wanted to age up as fast as possible. You want to make sure when you did age up, you had enough stone so that you could build your second town center because you wanted to make sure that you didn't get behind in macro. You wanted to make sure that your macro was on point
Yeah.
and that you got ahead in the villager production, the tech production, economy upgrades, tech upgrades. You wanted to make sure that you were just macroing better than your opponent so that you're just in an overall better position. And now with the new patch update, you have the gathering rates that have decreased. You have the DPS of certain units that have decreased, specifically in bowmen,
Mm-hmm.
for all bowman civs that are H2 bowman civs. So you're not seeing as much as a what was it before Star, like a 2 minute age, 2 minutes and
2 minute age
30 or
up,
40
3 minute, 10
t-
second town center.
town center, second town center.
Yeah.
Yes,
So now, like, just to summarize what Spartan's saying, like now, not only have the the gathering rates decreased, right? So if you look here before, huntables were like 1.4 gather rate. Now it's like 1.05, and that's, yeah. And everything else is at 1. Now it's at zero point 0.8. So 20% decrease in gather rates. But not only do you have that, but now your town centers, instead of costing 300 wood and 300 stone, are costing 450 each. So everything in the game has pretty much slowed down. The idea is to help new players be able to like react and do things in a way where you're not like super punished for not having the most optimal build, right? Because in the past,
absolutely.
every 2 seconds mattered. Not to say that it still doesn't, but it still definitely does. But it's just the pace has gone a little bit more relaxed.
Yes, absolutely. Like before, you could get away with really not building a military, having any military units for, sometimes 7, 8, even 9 minutes, because your second and third town center and maybe a tower thrown down would be enough to defend and hold off your opponent with whatever force he had. But now you almost absolutely it's almost imperative that you have some sort of a military force on the map, or you're not going to survive in the game.
Absolutely. And one other thing to mention is that, out of this came a lot more unique and interesting builds, right? We have
Yep.
Von Smitty, who, is now going for a second town center, is, doing quite well at trying to accomplish that. But, he's getting up a barracks in between getting a town center. And Hades, usually I would consider this a death sentence, going 1-1-1 before even getting any stone, right? Like, I would
Right.
instantly write that off as, being uncompetitive in the next 3 to 5 minutes, because his economy is going to be so much worse. But that's not the case.
Nope.
It seems like, with good sustained pressure and a good enough a macro behind it, like, you can actually be quite competitive by putting on pressure with your 1-1-1. So yeah, that's something of note. I will say that
Yeah.
Vamosmidi is not doing himself any favors. He's not making any villagers at the moment.
No, and he had enough room. He had enough space too. So I was wondering what was going on. What is he looking at that
Oh
he's
no.
distracted?
Alright, he lost one extra villager. 21 villagers to the 29. A couple of those, of course, are going to be... I don't know what's wrong, but he has an
Yeah.
empty queue for like 30 seconds now.
Oh yeah, for a very long time. I'm not sure
Is he planning to go to
if,
age 3? Like,
or was he distracted by by this attack? Because yeah, he really just stopped producing for a very long time, which that's not good when you have constant production. If you look at the population count already, 57 population to 31, just from that minute or so of not having anything in his queue.
right, right. And the major difference, right, is when you look at Von Smitty's like resource count. He's got 500 gold, right? That's 500 resources he could have been using to get to do something else.
Right.
Um, and Hades doesn't really have that problem. He's using most of his resources effectively, down to his last couple pieces of gold and wood and food. So I think I like Hades' build right now quite well. Let's take a look at his base before moving back to the action. Still gathering on huntables. Just going across the map for both golds. Very nice, very nice. It's actually flipping back to the action. He's picking off another one of the villagers. Oh, 6 HP, stays alive. But at least knocks Smitty off of the hunt.
Right. You made a very good point as well with keeping that resource count low. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard this before. You want to kind of keep it in the double digits,
That's the goal.
if
That's the
if you
goal.
can.
Yeah, the thought is that unlike your own personal savings, that might
Yeah.
earn interest. Hey, listen, I'm not back here. I'll speak about this. But unlike your own personal savings that earn interest over time if you keep them in your bank, no resources do that, right? And so,
Right.
if you think about it, your resources, if they're staying in your bank, they're not accomplishing anything for you, right? They are simply sitting idle. Ooh, I'm not sure if Smitty wants to chase this. That's not really the best.
No, he did upgrade them
Oh my
spearmen to
goodness,
spearman champion.
he might get a decent engagement with all of these raiders, but like,
These champ spearmen will help him significantly if he can micro them onto. And you got to
wow.
remember, the bowmen aren't as strong anymore, so these raiders can take a lot of hits before actually being killed. So, yeah, that
Yeah.
actually played out very well. And this is what we're talking about with this new patch.
Yeah, yes, exactly. So one of the other things with the new patch is because everything's so much slower and because the resource gathering time is slower, like it also helps to micro a lot more. Like it's
Yes.
very beneficial to micro, and you saw Vamosmidi actually taking a very good fight despite being 40 population below. Now, because he's 40 population down, he's being harassed on multiple fronts. So he almost needed that fight to go his way in order for things to work out for him. I find this very shocking. He's actually building barracks units, barracks with his food villagers, even though he desperately needs food.
Yeah, he's better off using his military units, since they can build, Norse military units can build infantry units specifically.
He is being harassed all over the map. You know, Hades has some units on this side, some units gathering on this side, and he's going to be able to keep doing these like multi-pronged attacks back and forth and back and forth.
Yes, and I will say, if you watch my videos, we've been training quite a bit on my channel. If you watch, he's been practicing this a lot. He's been playing versus Cool Cat, Poseidon, Nemesis, and I think he discovered that this strategy can be highly effective if played correctly.
Absolutely, right? Like my favorite, eventually, if depending on who the player is, like if I can get into this spot, you should almost never lose, because you'll always be at a spot where your player or the player you're facing against like needs to bring their whole army somewhere, and that means that there's always an opening somewhere on the map.
Right, and I think that's exactly what Vamos is doing, and I mean, he's got to realize right now that he's really jumping back and forth with his entire military, and it's
so here's another thing
eventually
too,
going to cost
right?
him.
In order to stay in the game, Vamosmidi needs army, right? He's at 60 population to the 100 population of Hades.
Oh wow!
But like here's 2 town centers, something he invested so heavily in, something that Hades doesn't have. A option to get him back into this game that is sitting unutilized, just because of the great pressure that Hades putting on, right? And now his army is out of position. He was trying to get something done, like try to harass some villagers and maybe pull Hades' armies back, but oh man, Vamosmidi is going to run into the straggler units here of Hades, and even if he might win this one, like his base is being ravaged by the other units of Hades. So it's a no-win situation here for Vamos.
And also Hades has his first armory upgrade. He had Temper that just got researched.
Great upgrade.
So his units are even stronger.
I think Hades' textbook play, fantastic 1 TC build into 1-1-1. Man, it seems like games are being won or lost in this age 2 time frame. Like there's just not enough time or resources to get to age 3, which has also had its cost increased. So
right,
you just win or lose the game by this age 2. What units you have in age 2?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially if you don't prepare for it, like if you just don't have enough units, as you pointed out, with this population difference, then yeah, it's really gonna cost you.
Right, and it's a multiplicative effect, right? If you have 10 units and your opponent has 5, you don't your opponent doesn't go down to 5, they go down to 8, right? And so each time you take a better fight, you can just snowball your advantage in the game. And Vamosmidi is pretty much left with some skirmishers and 16 villagers. So I don't think much is going to be able to get done in this game, no matter how good skirmishers are against ranged.
No, not right now with the villager count. Hades 59 villagers, Vamos 16 villagers. There's no coming back from this one, I don't believe.
No matter how cool these skirmishers look.
They do. Yeah, they're impressive.
Right, and if you want to get back in the game, you need to definitely be making a ton more villagers, and even Hades should be making more villagers. But here he is making his second town center.
Town center. Yep.
So that'll help him. And he now has a lot more food. So yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge supporter of my clan. I'm like a proud parent when I'm watching, Alundra and Hades.
Excellent, excellent, as you should be.
Like in the stands, cheering them on. Like, come on.
So tell me, how did the clan get started? How did it all come together? Was it your idea? You recruiting Hades?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was absolutely my idea. I was tired of having the same players at the top of the Sparta ladder, with Poseidon, the Ant clan, and the VC clan, and having Pharaohs at the top of this. Every season, it was the same exact players, and I'm thinking, all right, you know what? I'm gonna create a clan, and we're gonna dominate the top 5 of 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 Sparta. Now it didn't happen, but we were up
Tried.
there.
That's the goal.
Yeah, we tried.
And you're still trying.
Oh yeah,
I'm
we
not
don't give
giving
up.
Look at this.
No.
Hades is showing the
Oh.
world what the Elite Clan can do. Even getting shield rim for
Rims,
those
yep.
pesky skirmishers. And I think that's going to be it. The final push is made. There's enough melee damage here to take out all the rest of the villagers down to 11
Yep, there's the
population.
GG by Vamos. Yep.
Yes, there's the GG. Very
Oh,
nice.
he had the right idea. Yeah, he had the right idea with the second town center. But Hades he executed that perfectly, like you said. Should we do a quest stats analysis?
Yes, you should. I was even say, look at Hades even getting a market. Excellent from him.
You're kidding me. Oh yeah. Oh wow.
16 minutes, already getting a market before going to H3. Love it. All right, military trained. Ooh, so that's like just a villager difference. But let's take the current villager population.
Okay.
Massive
wow.
difference. Of course, he went to H2 here. Hey, Pharaoh.
Yes.
Spartan is co-casting Crimson. Massive difference here in Vamosmidi. And then just unable, like at no point in this game was Vamosmidi able to use his second town center, right? Like there's no jump up in production.
Right. Yeah, Crimson, that's because I'm awake now. I work a lot of hours. I work 60 hours sometimes, 60 hours a week, and sometimes I'm very tired. And then between that and the girlfriend, I'm exhausted. But I'm awake today. I made sure I got plenty of rest so we can be pumped for this.
That's jokes. The girlfriend. Alrighty. Well, I will flip back to the waiting screen. That's definitely not the community challenge waiting screen. Definitely not. Let's see. I shall. Hades in the bottom of Swamp Pass, playing on Persia. Found his hunt. He's gonna get right to work. And then there's Vamos switching to Romans. Another melee civ. And it's actually it's good to see that the Romans seemingly have had a renaissance of sorts with this new patch, right? I think where they're legionaries and they're nobody's high. Let me just clarify that. But legionaries are quite strong in this patch now that the major counter, some sort of bowman, like has been nerfed a little bit. So
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Once they get on top of them, yeah, they can kind of withstand a little bit more now
yes.
with their buff. I want to ask you, Star, how do you see this matchup going as far as who has the advantage, age 2 or age 3, if it gets there? What Civ is able to kind of dominate once we start moving up in ages? Have you played both Civs now with the new patch or not yet?
I have played a bunch of Persia. Have not played so much Roman. I will say though that depends on what Vamos wants to do. It seems like with this fast wood gatherers next to the storehouse of his hut, that he's going to go for an early barracks or a castellum. I think if that's the case, then Hades might be in for some trouble. But if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't take the aggressive line, then I think Hades could do something with some archers, some bowmen. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I will say, Hades, he's been really preparing. I mean, all week he's been online every day training, training.
That's what I like.
So we'll see if that really. I mean, last game we saw he looked completely solid. Didn't skip a beat. Resources low. Constant villager production. Constant military production. Upgrades. Early armory tech upgrades. I mean, he didn't miss a beat. Second town center in a reasonable time.
Absolutely. Well, now we have two different distinct ways that these players have chosen to open. We have Hades, who is going 7 guys on wood, 8 guys on wood, take that back, and getting up a dock in order to support that. 2 fishing boats out right away.
Yes.
And no H2
Very
coming
good.
in yet. Versus Vamos, who is actually going to H2, drops down a Praetorium. Love to see it. I was wondering why he decided to go for H2 very quickly, when my thinking was he was going to drop down a Castellum, but this is exactly what you need to do if you want to get some Decorions out in the field.
So we can expect some raiding here, which Decorions are very tanky.
Very good at raiding. It's great to see. Okay, and he's getting some guys on gold, because we know how gold hungry these Decorions can be. 90
Yes, I believe
gold.
100. Yep, 90.
90 gold. He has enough enough resources, but not enough population room, and that's why he's dropping down some houses, getting his first Decorion on the field. But Hades will have a good line of sight on this whole entire shore, so very nicely done. Even though it's not the most efficient, it actually makes sense to have your fishing boats be here on this side of the map, just so you can see in case Vamos decides to put down his own dock.
Right, and he's able to react to it in time.
Exactly. But you know what? Now that the fishing boat DPS has dropped down, I'm not even sure that's the case. I'm not even sure that a fishing boat could stop a villager from getting up a dock.
Oh, it can. I did it.
Oh, you gotta be like
Absolutely.
instant
Yes.
reaction time, though.
Yes, I have a game. I have a game on my channel that I streamed. It was on Mountain Crossing. I think it was Nemesis tried to come around and build a sneaky dock, or was it? Oh no, actually, I think it was Vamos. Yeah, on Mountain Crossing, and I had my fishing ships. I believe I had two or three, and I just focused fire on that villager, and he was I think he dropped down to half health before he was even really got the dock. I think even like 20 or 30% built. And then he just abandoned. He took his villager away and retreated with it.
Very nice. Well, look at this play from Hades. So he saw, let's check out his vision, right? Hades' vision. Wow, he didn't. Here I was thinking he saw the Praetorium, but he did not. So even without seeing the Praetorium, seeing anything in Vamos' base, he's double barracksing to get that spearman, the spearman out. That is quite the
Interesting.
play.
Yeah, he must have really anticipated it. Maybe he thought, okay, you know what? This is a fairly large map. I'm sure he'll get Cav out and just wanted to be prepared for it.
Yeah, Vamos is skipping a bunch of villagers. That's not the best.
Again? Oh, yeah, not good.
Yeah. I think for him, maybe just queuing up a whole bunch all at once might be the right play. Just so he doesn't forget. Alright, the Decorions are going to come here, pick off another villager though. Right, so what Hades, what Vamos doesn't have in his own villager production, he's trying to make up for with destruction of villagers. I will say this though. It is almost always preferable to be making your own villagers rather than raiding and getting somebody else's. The reason
Right.
being, right, he got one villager here, right? So net positive by one. But in order to do that, not only did he lose a Decorion, right, but he also will be losing like 2 villagers of his own because of his attention was split between his base and raiding, and so he wasn't
Right.
able to make his villager. So really, he's net like down a villager.
Right, and like we said before, like every action taken counts now. Everything you do, if you're not paying attention, that moment that you fall slightly behind, if your opponent can capitalize on that, then that could determine whether or not you win or lose the game, just based on those small details like you pointed out.
So Vamos is doing a great job of creating lots and lots of units, though. Like he's doing a great job of that, but just he just doesn't have the villagers to really like seemingly keep up in the game. If you're saying he's
No,
doing challenge army only, all pop on army, that could work. Um,
and, I wonder if he's using a hotkey, if he's using hotkeys.
oh, we're gonna have to watch out here. Asabara onto the slingers. Oh no! Vamos is going for it. That's not good. The Decorian are going to fall super quickly to the Spearman. And this might be the quickest... Oh no. I'm very worried here.
Yeah,
Asabar are super strong. The Spearmen in the mix, though, are super strong. And there goes all of Vamos' army. And now he's 20 pop behind. 29 villagers to the 34. And 2 of those villagers are fishing boats. So this is tough.
it is. It is, and I think we mentioned this before. Also, is you gotta, whenever you're about to engage in any sort of battle, you almost have to assess your opponent's military and decide whether or not it's beneficial to take the fight or retreat and mass up a little bit more until you feel confident that you could win that battle instead of losing all your units.
Yeah, yeah. So right here, Vamos, brightly showing presence, but not actually engaging, because he should know that his army cannot beat this army. Right, 13 spearmen with like amazing DPS and damage versus cavalry, and then same with these Aspar are doing so much good damage and highly effective versus range. One thing too, right, to note. Vamos made this auxilia camp without scouting that his opponent had archers. So again, a bit overzealous potentially, and great rating by Hades here.
Yeah, I think so. There's 1 villager down, 2 villagers down,
Yeah, he's gonna get all
3, 4, 5. Yeah,
Yeah, one thing
nice
I
pickup.
will mention, right? Because when you're Hades in this position, you're saying to yourself, okay, I cannot really take this army on and then push into the base. So your job is to just go around and scout and see where Vamos is having all of his villagers, right? And destroy the economy, make him sit in his base, and then and only then, do you after you cripple the economy, do you ever push in? It's just a really
Right.
smart, great way of closing out games.
Right. Now these Roman spearmen are now spearman champion.
Yeah, they're gonna help a little bit. Definitely gonna help a little bit. It's gonna be able to like keep it fairly even, but it's not gonna be the way to win. The spearman champion, even with some legionaries in the mix, should be able to clean up most of this. Or the
Yeah.
spearman
Oh, and
for Hades, sorry.
and he did not have his slingers in the battle. He kept them back.
Storehouse
Vamos did.
Oh my god, no storehouse on the bears. Oh no. No picker's gloves either.
He is on water. He did manage to get one
He
fishing
did
boat
manage
out
to
on.
get up on the water, which is great. Alright, now he needs to fall back to his 2 guard towers here. We even had an Asabara go into the back of the base. Gonna have to get the full army of Vamos here in the mix.
Yeah, it looks like with the villager count, 45 for Hades and 25 for Vamos.
Vamos seems like he has all of the other fundamentals of this game down pat, right? He understands the need to close out the game, the need to build a nice army, a good army composition, right? But there is still the most critical, you know, like pulling back when he needs to pull back. Like he understands all of that. He understands map control, understands getting resources from across the map. Like, for the most part, understands, you know, good placements of storehouses. But I think from an economy standpoint, there are some improvements that to his game that he could make, chief among them being constant villager production.
Right.
And it might just be a hotkey thing, right? Maybe maybe he needs to hotkey his town center or something, or find a way that works for him to remember to always make villagers. But I think that's the key.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Absolutely. And Hades looks like he's floating a lot of resources now. He almost has enough resources to go age 3.
Yeah, it seems like he's housed, and he's dropping down a whole bunch of houses, but only with 1 villager. At this point, right, for Hades, if you're, like, obviously you're paying attention to this fight, but you have 1,000 gold, pulls your guys off of gold, start making those houses. In the long run, you'll be better off. Right, because then you could have cleaned up this game, this whole entire fight. You could have cleaned up much faster.
Right,
And you know, this fight, this might not be the best idea, especially with his armory upgrades just now, like being completed. So I think before that armory upgrade is completed, most of his army will be dead. It's a pretty good engagement, all things considered, for Vamos.
It is, and I was just noticing, like when you were speaking on, he has all the other fundamentals. Like, he knows how to adjust his composition based on his opponent's composition. Because you saw how now he went heavy on the Legionnaires because he saw Spearmen.
Yeah, and definitely to stop producing the slingers. Right, it's just a great change up here. The only issue is, right now, and he is doing that, but he should be focusing on getting up his actual economy, right? Like, you took a good fight. You need to know that Vamos, or sorry, that the Hades is doing better things. The Empire.
Right.
Hey, Chenla, thank you very much. All right, but I like this. He's coming in with a little bit of a raiding force. Needs to make sure not to lose his one and only army. He's going to take another fight, but he should see this army coming in from behind him, and he does. Great movements out of the way. Hades, in the meantime, getting up scale mail. Very nice. Oh, no. He's going to move the Spearmen in to try to take out the Asabara, which they're going to do, but at the cost of his entire army. He knows he can't. He's trying to get out with a couple straggler units, but this is when the bowmen finish things off.
They're not going to make it.
All right, look at the mini map here. Vamos, sorry, Hades is all across the map. Even going to be dropping down a docks here.
And a market line being set up.
Yeah, that
yep, over in the west.
Very nice. Just grabbing some of Vamos's berry bushes. I wonder if he's seen this dock. Oh, just out of range. Great spot for Vamos.
He's so close. Does he want to drop off a little bit of food at his dock? You know, help him out a little. Okay, good reaction there by Vamos, pulling his villagers off the gold. Because he's still 39 villagers for Vamos. And 59 for Hades.
20 villager lead. But Vamos, like, he's floating a lot of resources, just not gold. Where's he getting gold from? This side of the map. $31 months. Dang. Alright, exciting. Now Hades is going for the throat, taking her all the production. Not that Vamos, doesn't have the resources to make more production. He just doesn't have the villagers or the time to make more production.
No, and I think that's also important to note is as you're engaged in a battle, you need to make sure you're still producing behind your fights. You see that often to where players aren't producing enough or are not producing at all. And they lose the fight, but then, they drop down in population and they struggle to get it back up.
So many of these units for Hades are hurt. If only he microed onto like these guys with 21 health, 3 health, but I still don't think that that'll make the difference.
No, Hades is almost maxed out at 160 pop. He's at 152 pop. Almost has enough resources to go age 3.
Yeah, has units going and scouring the rest of the map, wondering why Vamos hasn't conceded yet, and he ended up finding that gold deposit. So.
And there's the GG for Vamos.
Very nice. Well, let's check the post-game stats. I think we know what we're going to see, though. Fairly even throughout the mid-game, right? And then I think when Vamos stops making villagers, there's...
definitely a gap. And
let's see
the macro.
Current military population, yeah. Vamos was ahead, with those Decorions and great tech choice to go with double spearmen early on from Hades.
Right.
And then if we check villagers trained, right, both these players on 1 TC the whole game. When would we have ever heard that before? And instead to get current villager reduction, yeah. Vamos is always kept in check below that 40 mark, only briefly touching it.
Okay, so we're good.
All right, we're on Arabia, folks, for game 3. Hades trying to make a desperate last stand. Or no, not Hades. Vamos trying to make a desperate last stand.
Hades trying to close it out.
Hades is definitely trying to close it out, and he's feeling good. He should be feeling good. I'm not sure if he is, but he should be feeling very, very good. He's up 2-0 in this best of 5 show match. Spartan, tell me what they're playing for.
They are playing for standings. I don't know I think I sent you the chart. We are creating a new tournament/event, best of 5 roster ranking system. So the reason behind why we're doing this is because there's been a lot of argument and dispute that Sparta does not tell skill. Sparta 1 versus 1 and 2 versus 2 does not tell, level or how good the player is. That can be argued. Does someone that has, like Poseidon, over 100 wins, does that mean that he's, a high level player or a decent player? Or does Sparta just not matter at all? Does it really come down to you have to have these best of 5s and best of 7s against either players the same level as you or maybe even just in a higher level to see where exactly you stand, because can you take one game? I mean, I've taken games versus players like Eshwar, Verhoover, Poseidon, Warlock, Grungy, EKA. But guess what? That was one game. Does that make me a high level? That I took games from these high level players? So we don't know. We don't know, and like it's debatable, right, Star? I mean, it's debatable.
Yeah.
Where some can say, "Oh yeah, Sparta matters. If you're top ranked in Sparta, then you're the best." But is that true?
That's
We don't
definitely
know. So
not the
guess what?
case. Definitely not the case. I think
So
part of
we
it
are
is a
going
combination of skill. Of course, if you're the top, it
right.
does mean that you have a lot of skill, but it also means that you've played a lot of games, right? Like that's
Right.
simply the fact. The more games you
Correct.
play, like if you are of a certain level and you play more games, you will just be at the top. That's why
Right.
it almost like even if the Mista were to come back and start playing, unless he faces off against Poseidon, like on the Sparta ladder, he'll almost never beat him in any month because Poseidon will just play more.
Correct. Right. And he'll remain at the top because he has more games.
Hmm.
So, but now that we have best of fives, uh, we can actually match these players and we can get them equal and even matchups based on their skill and their level. What we believe, and this having these matches is almost like is what I explained to some players. Is like it's like a process of elimination because there's also been arguments and debates that these haven't been equal matchups because most of them have been 3 and out that we've seen. You know,
Yeah, yeah. That's also a
uh,
mental thing too.
right, and also
Oof, they'll
you,
just
you
fight
just
back. Sorry.
oh yeah. Oh no, you're good. Also, we can't tell. We don't know. You know, we can say like Vamos said, Vamos would beat Hades in the past. You know, just a couple weeks ago, and he's saying now that Hades has been practicing versus Poseidon and Cool Cat. He's saying this isn't the Hades that he versed. And just real quick before we start talking about the action here,
Hmm.
Star, we're also playing for money. All these best of fives you will be compensated if you are asked to play in these events on the weekends. It's your time being given up and your skill being showcased. And what do they say, Star? If you're good at something, you
Never
never
do
do
it
it
for
for
free.
free.
Yeah, that's one way. That's one way.
Absolutely. So guess what? We're giving out money. I'm giving out money. I have plenty of money. Uh,
Yeah.
the higher rank you are, I just real quick to note, the higher rank you are with this new ranking system and roster, the more money you're going to get paid. If you're in the top five, it's going to be between $100 and $500 for games. So, and then also, Star, if you want to add, you're giving. Is it still the Project Celeste? Are you still
Yes, yes, yes.
okay?
Project Celeste will help as well. Definitely not $500, but to some extent we will be helping Spartan here, who has been graciously um, helping fund and then also organize, which is probably the hardest part. All of these games, I will say. Each donation, donations in the past and the donation bar on the side, all of this goes to players and tournaments and fun activities. Like I think one of the cool things that could come out of your order, right? Side note there, 17
Yes.
villagers to the 21. Almost like tons and tons of food with super house popped. Doing a great job like pushing and knocking him off of his hunt, but he's still struggling with those villagers. Okay, so back to it. I think eventually, though, we could incentivize people to play in these best of five show matches, and the way we could do that would be if we say something like top 16 in your rankings gets to be invited to a tournament
Yes.
a tournament of some sort. I think one thing I've always wanted to do, it's been a dream of mine, to create a like weekly or something like season where players go and play uh, with the idea of like earning points. In my head, it would points. In this case, it could be just rankings in your leaderboard. Um, but like you play, you get rankings, and you're in a specific leaderboard that then qualify you for this ultimate tournament. Um,
I like that. I like that. Yeah.
so
That's
I think there's like a side benefit to your rankings where we could use it for more than just, I guess,
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And that's a great idea. And actually, there's actually been a lot of players that have been suggesting exactly what you said, Star, that they want like a real tournament. That's
But the
they're
thing
like
with
when.
the thing with tournaments, right, is that they are one and done, right? They
Yeah,
are one weekend, 1 month, whatever, and then they're finished. Um,
right,
that's why where I think like the opportunity to have these show matches that qualify you for this tournament
right.
um, is an
That's a
opportunity to
really
like
good
keep
idea.
the game alive and active and like discussion still taking place um, while like you look for some larger like tournaments. Like in other games that I watch, like other esports scenes related to CS:GO or Valorant. These all of these smaller tournaments or smaller events that then qualify you for larger ones. And so that's what I sort of think this could turn into.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. We'll definitely make sure that we get that set up as well as we go along here and start getting players on the roster. We have Zeus in the chat saying he wants Hades versus Some Majesty next.
That's a good. That's a very
It
good
is.
matchup in my head,
Yes.
from what I know from both these players.
Yes, very good suggestion. And you know what? We're gonna set it up. That's what we're gonna do. Reach out to Some Majesty and we're gonna make sure we set that up after we determine what
I
happens in this game.
I think I would also, depending on Hades, like I think I could beat Hades. I think if I trained,
Maybe.
I could maybe beat Hades.
So
Uh,
you don't want Grungy?
oh, Grungy's too good, man. I don't know. Grungy, like I know my place in the rankings. And Grungy
There's
is very good.
multi-pronged. There's multi-pronged attacks. He loves them. He absolutely loves them. He will do that. That's like his play every game is a multi-pronged attacks.
Oh, Vamos coming in here, empty Q, doing some good damage to the villagers. But remember, 38 villagers to 23, and Hades has not touched a single one of Vamos' villagers. Or he has touched one, but not many. Um,
Oh, that's
and
not.
and there
Yeah,
goes
that's not
his
good.
army. Great tech into the Series. Double Seri production mixed with barracks. So very nice counter army here from Hades.
One villager on food. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going. Maybe it was a misclick.
No, I think he ran out of berry bushes.
Okay.
Hmm. Or not berry bushes.
Hunts.
Hunts. Ran out of hunts.
Okay, so he has 12 villagers getting on these berries now.
But he needs to just
As
not prioritize. He needs to prioritize villagers, right? Like that's the key.
And someone mentioned it could be nerves as well because
Oh, of
he,
course.
him and he, like that's why he was whispering to me. He said, "What's going on with Hades?" Because a couple weeks ago, he said this wasn't the case, but this is what practicing versus Cool Cat and Poseidon will get you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, one advantage he's gonna have is dropping down a second town center. That's pretty good. Now he just again, he's not queuing up any villagers. I hate to keep harping on it, but it is absolutely necessary.
Yes,
Absolutely necessary to keep making villagers stay in the game.
yes, it's imperative. And I guess we're gonna have to message him and let him know after the game. Make sure he watches
Yeah.
and make sure, like you said, he prioritizes that from
Oh no,
here on out.
he's pulling
Because
guys
he has
off.
all, yeah, well, because he had, like you said, he has all the other fundamentals.
He has great fundamentals. Yep, he has all of the fundamentals necessary for like winning fights and winning the game. Like he seemingly knows how to close out the games, but it's just the prerequisite. You have a
Right.
prerequisite to closing out games. I do like this though. I don't like this. I love this. Getting up a market instead of instead of getting up a second town center. I love it.
Well, yeah, and if I can just mention real quick, he watched my streams and saw that there were some games I won, some I lost. I forget what I was streaming that day. And I switch over to Discord, and here's a message from Hades. He says, he goes, I just want to point out a few things. He goes, first, you need to make sure you're constantly producing villagers.
Is that to
He goes, I
you?
noticed that you skip. Yeah. He said, I noticed that you skipped some. He goes, and you're very late on aging up, and you don't have a second town center. And he goes, and if you don't build a second town center, he goes, the best. And I have this whole message from him, and he says, if you don't build a second town center, then you need to get up a market to
Yes.
help with your economy. And I'm thinking like,
Yes.
okay, you're right.
Yeah, that's a rough message. Look, you started the clan to teach them, and here they are teaching you. Love it.
Yeah. Oh, but I don't have an ego, so you can tell me and I will take it.
No, absolutely. You
Uh,
shouldn't. If your goal is to,
yep.
if your goal is to learn and improve, then ego has no place.
No, not at all.
Look
Every
at Vamos. The balls on this man, just pushing out. He's
Yep.
like, I see your army is better than me. I don't care.
No.
But somehow it's working. So Hades
Yeah, if
got
we look
pushed
at
out.
Yep, if we look at the population difference though, oh my good lord.
Hey, don't look at that. Numbers are bad. All right. I think I saw
122
a
pop to 69.
128. I'm gonna create a stopwatch here for a second. In the meantime, we got Hades, who is taking down the walls. Pushing in, pushing in. Doing good damage. Taking a good fight, but he's splitting his army. Look at that. The Saryrs get to the back of the base. The spearmen are going to come, but the villagers, 30 villagers to the 56, and no villagers in queue. He took them off of the berry bushes, or they got killed. And now have no more villagers to do anything with.
Hey,
Quite a
do you know
shame.
how bad? Do you know how bad I just want to message them and say, keep producing villagers?
This reminds me of when Greeky was coaching me, and he was just like, "You need to make villagers. You need to make units. You need to make villagers. You need to make units." Like that's almost all you sometimes need.
Yeah.
Right. Like the game is all about rhythm. It's about constant cycles, and if you have those constant cycles, then the army almost doesn't matter because the army will come.
Right.
The army will come. So let's see, 128. So Vamos must be thinking like, oh, this army's pretty small. I could probably take this, but there's army all the way down. There's army in queue, right? 21 units in production.
Going age 3.
Going age 3, right? Soon to be getting some armory upgrades, I'm sure. Yeah, armory coming down on the way, right? Like Vamos should be taking map control, which is great, making sure that he can take whatever map control he can get. But the overextension, right? Hades, as he gathers units, as he's coming back, like Vamos needs to expect that to happen. Alright. Vamos back in his base, making his own armory. He does have enough gold and wood and stone, so that's very nice.
And does Hades have an armory? Yes, he does. No armory text researched yet, but he does have an armory. And a second town center going down now for Hades. I'm sorry, third town center.
Oh, third town center. Where's the second?
It's hidden.
2, 3.
in the
Oh,
corner.
okay. Look at that.
He snuck that in there. Yeah, we
Snuck that
didn't.
in. I didn't even realize. And he has a market. Very nice. All right, it's dropping off 267 gold as well.
He does have a
That's,
siege.
quite good.
Yep, he does have a siege workshop built, so we can expect rams.
All right, pushing in once again, but this time these upgraded walls are going to be slowing him down a little bit more than he did before. Very nice. He's
Another
even
panic tower.
he's even gotten his own market line up. I like it. He knows he needs to. Oh, look at this! Look at this! Vamos is pushing in, seeing if he can get any units that we're gathering from farther out of here. But unfortunately for Vamos, he hasn't actually gone to that side of the map, and so Hades is going to try to open up another corridor. Will this villager be able to stop him in time? That is the question.
I don't believe so. There's a lot of wall to be built for one villager there.
Yep, I think it is, and he's just about to get it started.
Yeah, he threw his hammer down and said, "F this."
And started fighting.
Yeah.
Started fighting. Love it. Love it.
Hades with a lot of
resources and techs coming in, and I think he can go to H4 soon too, but I think he's just waiting for his rams to come in. Yeah, here's one ram he's waiting for. I think there might be another ram. Yep, another ram coming in, some hoplites, and a third ram. Very nice from him. He's now chilling, waiting for those rams to come. He's got lots of armory upgrades coming in as well. So no rush from him to close out this game.
Oh, and I do want... go ahead.
No.
Oh, I do want to mention as well, like we were talking about with, does Sparta really make a difference or anything? Now, remember I said before, Vamos has the second most wins behind Poseidon and Sparta 1 vs 1.
Yes.
And here we're witnessing like complete domination with all games.
Yeah, well, I will say this, right? Like, depending on how Hades plays this game, or depending on how other people in the scene play this game, if you give Vamos more space, right, and you allow him to make a 180 population army with like 40 villagers,
and
you get swept, right? Like, it reminds me of when the Mista destroyed all of his army or all of his villagers to then like make a 200 population army. There's nothing you could do after that point. So one thing that he did quite well is constantly be pushing, constantly be whittling down the army size of Vamos. Like, if you didn't do that, then you'd be in big trouble. And so it just happened that Hades and his Hades playstyle were quite well tuned to fight against Vamos.